Eagles beat the 49ers 31-7. Okay. In Philly, at home. I pretty much knew this is exactly what was going to happen with this game. I had a great idea of that. I knew that Philly at home was hard to beat to begin with. Throw in a rookie quarterback, throw in banged up guys on offense for San Francisco. It was going to be hard for San Francisco to come out of this game with a win, despite all the weapons they have on offense, despite the stellar defense that they had, just strictly operating based on momentum. The Eagles already had a huge advantage going into this game. Then Brock Purdy gets hurt. At that point, just chalk it, right? Game's over. Just chalk it. It's over. Combine that with 148 rushing yards for Philadelphia. I mean, they didn't even have to run the ball, or I'm sorry, they didn't have to pass the ball very effectively at all. Jalen Hurts threw the ball 25 times. I mean, 121 passing yards, you know, 64 quarterback rating, 72 passer rating. Like, he looked kind of whatever as a passer, but they ran the ball all over everybody. Jalen Hurts had a rushing touchdown. Boston Scott had a rushing touchdown. Miles Sanders had 2 rushing touchdowns. It was a run the ball at will, and that's how you win football games. San Francisco had the same type of thing. They had the same type of game plan and approach, not just in this game, but that's where they found a lot of their success this year, was running the ball. You run the ball with McCaffrey, you run the ball with Debo, and you're effective enough, you can turn a guy like Brock Purdy into a really, really effective passer. But when Brock Purdy gets hurt, then it's strictly run. I mean, at that point, honestly, the 49ers probably would have been better off just running Wildcat with McCaffrey, like randomly throwing a jump pass every series, uh, triple option type stuff, than trying to do whatever they were doing, which was just handing the ball off. It was a tough scene for San Francisco, but there was a couple interesting plays in this game that we'll talk about later on. But San Francisco handing out 148 rushing yards on the ground. They never had a chance in this entire game. They never had a shot. And for Philadelphia, if they're going to continue to run the ball at the clip that they're running it at so effectively, I mean, they average 3.5 yards a carry, but that's with 4 different guys running the ball. I mean, that's 3.5 yards a carry with a starting running back is pretty good. That's about average. But then you look down at the receiving area, and there was nobody in Philadelphia's receiving core that received the ball more than 36 yards. Devontae Smith, 2 catches for 36. AJ Brown, 4 for 28. Gainwell, 2 for 26. Goddard, 5 for 23. That was it. That was it. On the they had 9 different guys targeted, or 8 different guys targeted. And it was just their day. They were at home, like I said, and San Francisco is known for a really solid defense. But as soon as Brock Purdy was injured, the game was effectively over. They could have saved everybody a lot of time and just said, all right, you guys shake hands, let's wrap it up, because this is just going to get ugly. San Francisco scored 1 touchdown, and the only reason they did is because Christian McCaffrey single-handedly just willed his way into the end zone. For Philadelphia, okay, moving forward, takeaways from this game for them as a team. If they run the ball at any effective level or anywhere near the effectiveness that they have been, and they run it, let's say they put up the exact same rushing statistics against Kansas City in the Super Bowl. 14 carries for 48 for Kenneth Gainwell, 11 for 42, Miles Sanders, 11 for 39, Jalen Hurts, 6 for 21 with Boston Scott. If they do that or anything resembling that, 44 carries for 148 yards, first of all, if they're running 44 run plays, and if they manage to rack up 148 rushing yards against Kansas City, my God, will they blow them out. I mean, they will blow them out, because that'll mean Patrick Mahomes is staying on the sideline. That'll mean they're running a ton of offensive plays, and they're running it effectively enough with 2 touchdowns for Sanders on the ground, a rushing touchdown for Jalen Hurts. Boston Scott mixes in a touchdown at the end. If they get 4 rushing touchdowns and run 44 rushing plays with 148 yards, they might beat Kansas City by 3 touchdowns. That's where they stand. Because then, like we talked about on the receiving side of the ball, Devontae Smith only had 2 catches. A.J. Brown only had 4 catches. Goddard had 5. They barely even used their offensive weapons in the receiving game. Barely even used them. And they blew out San Francisco. Yeah, they had Brock Purdy, right? I know Kansas City has Mahomes and Kelsey and all these other guys. And their defense is okay. But they're going to lose potentially 31-7 too, if this is what the Eagles are able to do on the ground running the football. Because the Eagles defense, I mean, yeah, it was a pretty one-sided operation, or one-dimensional, I should say. One-dimensional operation for San Francisco after Purdy got hurt, and it was relatively one-dimensional while he was healthy, right? I mean, it's a run first, run off the play action, RPO stuff with Brock Purdy. But even then, Philadelphia's defense was, I mean, the fact that they got to Purdy. They they got to him a couple different times. They got to Josh Johnson a couple times. And yeah, you could say whatever, it's Josh Johnson or not, but they run a pass play and it's pass protection for San Francisco. Philadelphia got home. Got home. So good for Philly. They are NFC champions and they are going to the Super Bowl, and at the moment are listed as the favorite over Kansas City by a couple points on the gambling line. I'm surprised it's not more, and I'm also surprised that when the matchup was set after Kansas City won last night, that the line opened with Kansas City as a favorite. As soon as that line opened up, it got hammered so hard for Philadelphia that it moved from, I think, Kansas City -1.5 all the way to like Philadelphia -2 over the span of a couple hours. I don't know how high it's going to get for Philadelphia. I don't know how much farther it's going to go for Philadelphia as a favorite. I wouldn't be surprised at all if Philadelphia shows up on Super Bowl Sunday as a 6.5 point favorite. I wouldn't be shocked at all. And if that's the case, I'm taking that. I would take that all day long, because Philadelphia showed in this game against San Francisco, they are so well rounded as a unit. The defense is dominant. The run game is dominant. The pass game is, I wouldn't say maybe dominant, but it's extremely effective. For San Francisco, the defense was dominant. The run game was really, really good, but the passing game is where there was a lot of questions. And I knew that the lack of experience with Purdy was going to be an issue to begin with. But on top of that, he got hurt and it was just game over. Game over. And like Philadelphia, I mean, yeah, it wasn't the most thrilling game to watch, but that doesn't matter for the Eagles and Eagles fans. They don't give a shit. They're gonna go out and blow people out running the ball if that's what it takes. Yeah, it might not be the flashiest thing ever. It might not be Mahomes rolling around, scrambling, backhand flipping the ball, and doing all this crazy stuff. They don't care. A win's a win. And they clearly showed it against San Francisco, killing the 49ers in this game. I took the Eagles on the points, won it with ease. Obviously, I think they were 2.5 point or 3 point favorites, and they win by 24. So, Eagles NFC champs. Good season for San Francisco. They have a lot of question marks coming back next year with Purdy and Trey Lance and Jimmy G and all these different things. That doesn't matter at the moment because the Eagles right now look really good, and I would have them as my favorite. I would pick them to cover the spread if they are the favorite in the Super Bowl. And if they're not the favorite, which would be absurd, I would take them on the other side in the money line, because I think if they play anything like they did in the NFC Championship, they are going to walk away Super Bowl champs with ease. With ease.